Shavua Tov, my dear friends, Shana Tova, Gmar Chatima Tova, a happy new year, a healthy new year, a year of joy and naches and happiness and peace, friendship, honesty, integrity, a year of all the best things that there is in humanity, because this past year we've seen a lot of the worst. Tonight is 13 years that my mother, Mila Bat Moshe Aaron, left this world. The day is written in my memory, and the Rosh Hashanah that preceded her death was the most horrific experience I ever had in my whole life. Being in shul, being in synagogue, and not knowing whether or not she was alive or not, in intensive care at Holy Cross Hospital in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You know, I was thinking about this today, obviously, and it's almost like thinking about the year that passed. Every day is a day that you can't get back. Every day and every experience is in and of itself, in that day, complete. Even though it may go on, it's still only right then and there. And then I was thinking about life, and since I'm not at home, I'm in a fabulous place, tiny place called Bova Marina, about 45 minutes out of Reggio Calabria, about 30 meters below, right on the ocean, right below the second oldest synagogue ruins in Europe. I'm thinking, and I wanted to be here because, of course, in Reggio there is no synagogue. To Naples, I couldn't travel because I'm still not well enough, obviously. And I couldn't take the chance of traveling. So I chose to be here for Yom Kippur and to be here for Sukkot, because here I will build, and my friends will help me build the big sukkah, and there we will have our beautiful sukkahs like we did a couple of years ago. But I was thinking that Yom Kippur, every year in our life, we have Yom Kippur. We all know what that is. We all know what the 10 days of awe are. We all know what we're supposed to be doing during those days. Like we know that Elul is the king is in the field and available to us. And today I was walking in the sea, at the edge of the sea. I was thinking about Rosh Hashanah, and I was thinking about Yom Kippur, and I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking about my mother. And I said to myself, I said, I'm almost happy that my mother is not here to see what is going on in the world, because it would make her so unhappy. And she's had so much unhappiness in her life. So I know that she is where she is. I feel her very, very close to me. And I feel this enormous power of neshamas in this place where I am. Now, there are many, many people around the world who have no clue and who can't understand what am I doing in this God-forsaken Calabria where there are no Jews. The ones I know, there are 3. Nobody is in touch with each other. The closest synagogue to me is in Naples, which is 6 hours away. What are you doing here? Why? A friend of mine, very close friend of mine, said to me, I am so sorry that you are spending Rosh Hashanah alone with non-Jews, because Friday night last week, I made a beautiful Seder and a Friday night meal for my dear friends who were so close to me during my illness and who were so close to me and are so close to me through all of my work and all of, thank God, my successes and all of the things that happened to me that are major, major. And it was almost sad in my heart because, of course, I understood totally what she said. On the other hand, I didn't have one moment of not joy on my Shabbos meal and on my Rosh Hashanah Seder, because there was such enormously high spirituality and such real and caring and wonderful camaraderie and friendship that I was happy and thrilled that Hashem gave me the opportunity to be able to share the new year of the world. Rosh Hashanah is the new year of the world, the creation of man, of mankind, of humanity, with people who were so close and mean so much to me. Yom Kippur And the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are days for me still of tshuva. They're still days for me of selichot and penitence that I began on the first day of Elul. And in the worst days of my illness, when I couldn't open my eyes and I couldn't read and I couldn't pray myself, then I went to Petach Tikva on the internet and I listened to Selichot of the Castile synagogue. I didn't miss a day. This to me is important. This to me is what real discipline as a Jew means. This is what I think that Hashem wants for his people to have as a vision. This is, I think, what the 10 days of awe, the 10 days of fear of Hashem, and the 10 days of judgment of Hashem, and the 10 days of putting things in balance are all about. I can name you 150 million things that I've done wrong this year. And I know I've done them wrong. But I can also tell you a few things that I know I've done right. The question is what I've done right and what I've done wrong is in the balance to give me another year of life, another judgment of continuing the work that I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I mean, thinking about this, if you think about it, how awesome this is, and that there is Hashem in this world who looks at you and who looks at everything you do, and in these days, I have the chills when I talk about it, in these days, there is an accounting made of who you've been in this year, what you've done, how many times you lost your temper, how many people you offended, how many horrible things you've done that were anti everything that Hashem teaches, how many Shabbosim you didn't keep, how many times you insulted somebody, how many times you used Hashem's name in vain. It's unbelievable to think of the things that are going on in Shemayim, in heaven, right now, and don't think for 1 second that you are not part of this. And this does not concern you. And this has nothing to do with you. And you don't care one way or the other. Okay. So on Yom Kippur, you will fast. Maybe half a day. Maybe on Yom Kippur, you'll go to synagogue, maybe a half a day. Maybe you'll even sit the whole day. Maybe, maybe, maybe on that day, on the awesomeness of that day, in your mind, you'll go over the things that you've done and the business that you've done, the advice that you've given, the words that you've spoken that were not appropriate. There is so much that you can say to yourself, and for so many things, you can say, forgive me. And for so many things, you can say, I'm sorry. But if you don't say it to me, then say it to Hashem. And if you don't say it to your friends, and you don't say it to your family, and you don't say it to business partners, whoever, say it to Hashem. Come clean with your own neshama, come clean with your own self and say, well, I've done the wrong things. I am going to really make an effort to do tshuva, to return, to look at the world around me and realize, I mean, you have to be totally and completely not here, not to see what is going on in the world. And to think that this has to do with us, with you and with me. You can bring me as many conspiracy theories as you want. You can tell me 1.5 million things of who is trying to take over who and which fifth generation is going to plot the world. And I'm going to listen to you. And I'm going to say, you may very well be right. But if you are right or if you are wrong, ultimately, it makes absolutely no difference because the bad, as well as the good, as well as what you like or what you don't like, and what is acceptable to you or what is not acceptable to you. It all comes exactly from the same place and is there to teach you and me and the world a lesson. The chances we get are not Yom Kippur, and they're not Elul, but they're every single day of our life. Every day that you open up your eyes and every day that you close them, it's all about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all about Hashem. It's all about God. And whether or not He decides. He decides. Not you, but he decides. You're going out or you're coming in exactly and only at his time. And the desires that you may have for God only knows what completely come to naught when he says so. HASHEM is the last parsha, basically the last parsha of the Torah. V'zos habracha is said during Sukkot. So this basically finishes the cycle of our Torah readings. The 32 chapters of the Torah, Moses has been with us, guiding us, teaching us, patiently relating to a stiff-necked people the words of HaShem. Brought us out of Egypt. He brought us the Torah. He prayed for us in the worst moments of our downfalls. He pleaded with HaShem not to destroy his people. The most humble of all prophets, the only one who spoke with God face to face. And he speaks to us in the book of Dvarim, the whole book that we just finished. And with HASHEM, we, for all intents and purposes, finished. This neshama, this soul of Moshe Rabbeinu, leaves with us when he leaves, when Hashem tells him it's now time to go. He leaves inside of us, each and every one of us, a spark of him. That means that each and every Jew has a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu, and every single one of us has the potential to take that spark and create out of that spark a fire. We've lost an immense amount of tzaddikim, rabbis, great minds during this year. When Hashem decides it's time, it doesn't matter what your projects are. Hashem has his. And when Hashem needs the tzaddikim of this world to be doing another job with him in Olam Haba, to bring us and to give to us more understanding and more vision and more kindness and more opportunity, then Hashem takes whom and what he needs. Let me tell you something. In Parshas Vayelech, the Parsha before HASINU, Parsha before Rosh Hashanah, with, of course, the Parsha Nitzavim, has in it everything that you need to know. If you don't read and if you don't know anything else, read the last two. And if you don't have time to read the last two, then read HASINU. Read the last, which is all. So, Parshas, the portion of HASINU, is connected to every single portion in the Torah and is a silly word, but is a wrap-up of every single solitary thing that is written in the 5 books of Moses. Listen, O heavens, and be my witness, for I will speak. Let the earth hear and witness the following words of my mouth. Let my teaching drip like rain and give life to the world. Let my words flow like dew. Let storm winds that bring rain on vegetation to make them grow, and the raindrops on the grass. When I call out and mention the name of God, respond and ascribe to the greatness of our God. Though he is powerful like a rock, he acts, his acts of retribution are perfectly balanced, for all his ways are just. There is a very interesting thing that in the world of speakers, in the world of lecturers, is a guideline. If you don't catch them in the first 3 minutes, forget it. You're not going to buy them. Talking about the audience. If you don't understand these 10 lines, then you won't understand anything of the rest either. If you don't understand that God is faithful to reward the righteous and even rewards the wicked without injustice, all acknowledge that he is righteous and upright in judgment. Corruption is theirs, not his. In selichot, in penitence, we say, how can I come in front of you How can I ask you for forgiveness with all of the shamefaced things that I've done? How do I even have the chutzpah to come to you and ask forgiveness for what I did? But that's exactly the point. That even though you did, but you know, and you go and you ask forgiveness with the intention of changing and coming closer, coming closer every day of your life to do and to be and to try and to appoint yourself to do, then Hashem will hear. He will forgive, even though in the two previous parshas, he said, I will turn away. I will hide my face, and they will think that I'm not watching and that I'm not here. But the truth is, and he says, so I will never abhor them, no matter where they are, because they are my children. They are my people. The Torah teaches a person to ask your father about one generation or another, about the days of Mashiach and the world to come, and he will tell you. Here we see that a father should educate his child about the concept of Mashiach and not leave the child to pick up knowledge by himself. What did you do this year to give to your child teaching about Yiddishkeit? What did you do this year to teach your child about Torah? What did you do this year to teach your child, about kashrut, about eating kosher? What kind of example were you this year for your child? In your dress, in your speaking, in your covering hair, in your modesty? What do you think a child will learn when you hand him a phone? What do you think? And where do you think that child is going to know and care about why we have Pesach, Passover, and why we celebrate the way we celebrate, and what our holidays are, and what have you done this year to promote your own children not to be like others, but to be different, to know who they are, why they are. What have you done? You think if you give them a Friday night meal and then you go and you watch television or you go Shabbos to the beach or you've done a job. You've done absolutely zero, nothing. Consider it zero. But I want to tell you this. There is very, very, very little, and we'll put that to the side, that Hashem will not forgive. One of the things that Hashem will not forgive is Shabbos, is keeping Shabbat, keeping his Shabbos day. That he will not forgive. So when you go to ask forgiveness during these 10 days of awe, when you put your heart on the line, when you put your life on the line, and literally that's what you're doing, you're putting your life on the line. Understand who you are, what you are, and who is judging. It isn't me. It's Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's Hashem. You don't see with your eyes, but your neshama, your soul, knows. You think that nobody's watching. Know that Hashem is watching. You think you can get away with everything that you've done. Every rotten and miserable and cheating and horrible words and miserable behavior and speaking about others and lashon hara. We all do it. We all do it. And every time you do it, you have to ask forgiveness. And every time you do it, say, I will not do it again. And before you think to speak, think about what that means, what you're saying, and what kind of an effect your words have on another person. We all make mistakes. We all are responsible for them. The question is, how do you then, when you know that you've made a mistake, treat the situation, and how do you ask forgiveness? And with what intention do you ask forgiveness? Knowing that the judgment of what you do at any particular moment in your life bears judgment on what Hashem decides during these days. It's heavy stuff. We've had an incredibly difficult year. The only thing that will change Hashem's decree, Hashem's judgment, and that's what you've got right now between Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, until final, absolute end of the day is Shmini Atzeret. Okay. But now, how you go and what your intention is, and whether or not the words that you speak are truth. Truth in your heart. That you go to Hashem and you believe totally in your intention to make the change, to ask Him for forgiveness without making a change is useless. I am absolutely convinced that you can say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and it means zip, nothing. If in your soul you are not crying and begging and pleading and saying, I've made mistakes, forgive me, I promise that I will do everything I can. And I ask your help and your guidance and your love to help me do this. Hashem is a merciful God. We say and we live with His 13 attributes. We move ourselves in His world. It's amazing. It's amazing to me how people don't get this. All right. I really, it's amazing to me that you're here. We humans are here because He wants to be with us. He wanted the world. He created the world to be a home for Him. What have we done to His world? I don't have to go into it. It's boring. Because we all know it. Every one of us has a million things in their life. Okay, every time I throw out a piece of plastic, my kishkas, my insides turn. Is this how you repay God? Parshas AZINU. A crooked and twisted generation. We're talking about Moses is saying this, talking to me. He has made you a special nation and established you to be self-sufficient. Moses is speaking. Remember the days gone by when God punished the wicked Reflect upon the years of one generation and another. Ask your father, and he will tell you about the days gone by. Ask your elders, and they will inform you of what the early generations did when the Supernal One gave nations their lot with the flood, when he separated the sons of man after the Tower of Babel. He allowed them to exist, establishing 70 distinct nations for the sake of the children of Israel, who would later arise and number 70 souls. In other words, Moses in AZINU is going back from day one to the day he's going to die. And he's taking all of his teaching that Hashem put into his mouth, and he is reiterating it to the people. We're his people. What has changed? Nothing. Because we're exactly the same people that heard this. A crooked generation. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Nothing. Go take a look at our generation and the generation before and the generation before, and you'll see exactly, precisely the same thing. Rebellion against commandments, against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Moshe finished speaking all the words to all of Israel, he told them, excuse me, very dry here. He told them, turn your hearts to all the words which I am bearing witness for you today, so that you will command your children to be careful to observe all the words of this Torah. For it is not an empty thing for you, for which you will not be rewarded. Rather, it is your life. Through this thing, you will lengthen your days upon the land of which you are crossing over the Jordan to take possession. Torah is life. Torah is length of days. And Torah is the way to answer all questions in your life. You know, I speak to a lot of people, and I'm very, very, very fortunate to have a lot of wonderful, brilliant people around me. People of different backgrounds, not Jewish, different sections of Christianity. When we come down to the basics, in Yiddish we say tachlis. When you come down to the whole kit and caboodle, and you take into consideration all there is of everything and everybody, you come to one common denominator. And that common denominator is Hashem. There is no life. There is no minute, no second, no nanosecond, nothing which is not 100% guided and dictated and overseen by Hashem. Every word, every lie that you speak, every promise that you make and that you break, know that when you do it, you're being watched, you're being judged, and you're being given the choice. Remember, Hashem says, I will give you the choice. Choose life. Choose good. Or choose death and choose evil. The mission of a neshama is designed and decided at the beginning. How you get to that mission and what it takes you to get there and what is the outcome of your particular life is your choice. Choose life. Choose good. And when you choose life, and when you choose good, you choose Torah, and you choose Hashem. God spoke to Moses on that very day, saying, climb up the Averite mountain here at Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is facing Jericho, and see the land of Canaan, which I'm giving to the children of Israel as a possession. Then die on the mountain which you are climbing, and be gathered to your people, just as your brother Aaron died on the double mountain and was gathered to his people. 4. In the presence of the children of Israel, you caused people to betray me at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the desert of Tzin. For you did not allow my name to be sanctified in the presence of the children of Israel. While you see the land from afar, you will not come there to the land I'm giving to the children of Israel. The last parsha, the last words before the final bracha, final benediction. The parsha of V'zois bracha, and this is the blessing, is read on Simchat Torah, on the day of the joyfulness of Torah. What is there to say to you that during this year of sharing Torah together, I haven't said many, 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 many things. The benedictions are endless. The love is endless. The caring is endless. The gratitude is endless. What's missing in all this is my asking forgiveness for anything I might have said to hurt anybody, for anything I might have done that was not correct, for anyone that I might have offended in any way, which is never, ever my intention. I ask forgiveness. For all of the hours that we've spent together and all of the emotions which we've shared, I thank you immensely. May Hashem be the judge in his merciful kindness to each and every one of us to give us another year of being together, studying together, sharing together, supporting each other, being there for each other, taking on ourselves, ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, and you should love your fellow as yourself, learning to love ourselves so we can love our fellow, to give with open heart and with open hand, supporting Torah, supporting our rabbis who bring Torah to so many that are so lost, to open our doors, to not be judgmental and decide only my way doesn't work, because there is your way and there is Hashem's way, and you're not the judge. Hashem is. So let's wish and hope and pray and have the intention to be powerfully engaged in doing good, in choosing life. G'mar Chatima Tova, a sweet and happy and healthy year, and a perfect score with an extraordinary balance to begin the new year with. Shalom.